Welcome to the Finance and Physical Resources Committee of Kent County. It is Tuesday, January 11th at 8:30 a.m. It is my honor to call the meeting to order, to welcome commissioners, staff, guests, and those watching online or those watching it later online at home. Thank you so much for taking an interest in your local government and how things are followed and operated in our processes. With that, we're going to move to item number 1, which is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Okay, moved by Commissioner Sparks, supported by Commissioner Bolter. Any questions or comments on the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. That brings us to item number 2 from the 63rd District Court. Al?
Yes, action requested. Recommend to the Board of Commissioners to accept and appropriate $37,460 from the Michigan State Police for the 2022 Coronavirus Emergency Supplemental Funding CESF grant for the 2022 Special Project Fund budget, and to authorize the Board Chair or designee to execute the grant agreement, approve extensions, amendments, and increases to the grant appropriation not to exceed 15% of the original award. The Coronavirus Emergency Supplemental Funding Grant provides funding to agencies to maintain public safety through prevention, preparation, and response during the coronavirus pandemic. 63rd District Court has received funding to allow for overtime expenses to reduce case backlog in the amount of $25,160 and for the following supplies and materials: Topaz signature pads, licenses $6,000, on-base scanning license $1,500, and DMC software $4,800. The project covers a 12-month period from January 1, 2022 to December 31, 2022. The grant agreement will be reviewed and approved by a corporate counsel prior to signature.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
Moved. Support.
Moved by Commissioner Bolter, support by Commissioner Sparks, and we'll take questions, comments, and discussion. Commissioner Sparks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Could we have a little bit more information on what the DMC software will do? Some of the features and benefits?
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm Matt Mapes. I'm the Deputy Administrator at the 63rd District Court. This is Danielle Castillo, our Court Administrator. DMC Software is a company out of Toledo. We have a case management system called GIS. They make a lot of add-ons to that software right now. This is an additional piece of software that houses really our probation information, allows us to lay that probation information directly on the case management software that we're already using, as opposed to using an outside application that was actually developed by IT. Allows us to mesh those together, makes it a much more efficient process to use.
Yes, Commissioner McLeod.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for that information. So what is the, so thanks for this, clarifying that that's software that is specifically for the probation side of the house, but what is the maintenance cost on that? So the $4,800, I'm assuming, is just the basic, like, to get it installed, but what is the maintenance cost on that?
It includes installation, and then also includes, I think it's 5 training hours, if I remember correctly, so we can get people up to speed on that. Maintenance is paid on an hourly basis. If we have to do any types of retraining or any kind of fixes, it's paid on an hourly basis. It's the same plan we have when we use the other DMC software. In our budget last year, I think we spent a grand total of about $1,200 on those maintenance fees to that company, so it is not substantial. What I will say is that the nice thing of working with DMC is that they're also connected to, I would say, 30 or 40 other district courts in the state of Michigan. So they're all able to help each other. If there's a fix or an update, those always happen for free. And oftentimes we don't know what happens until we get the email that you're all set. Well, thank you. We didn't know it was broken, but thank you.
Okay, anyone else? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. That brings us to item number 3 from the Sheriff's Office. Al?
Action requested. Recommend to the Board of Commissioners to accept $150,614 secondary road supplemental grant award from the State of Michigan Highway Safety and Planning, appropriate $86,946 for the 2021-22 Sheriff Special Project Fund budget, supplant $63,668 previously appropriated from the general fund for the 2021-22 Special Project Fund budget, and to authorize the board chair or designee to execute the grant agreement, approve extensions, amendments, and increases to the grant appropriation not to exceed 15% of the total award. Kent County Sheriff's Office annually receives a grant award from the State of Michigan's Office of Highway Safety to fund the operations of the Secondary Roads Program. This program enables 2 to 3 deputies to focus on patrol and traffic violations on secondary roads and to also investigate crashes. The Office of Highway Safety Planning originally awarded the county $320,769, which was appropriated via Board Resolution 992185 as part of the 2021-22 budget. Subsequently, the state awarded an additional $150,614 to the county, bringing the total grant award to $471,383. It is requested that $63,668 of the supplemental funds be used to supplant the general fund transfer previously appropriated via Board Resolution 992185, and the remaining $86,946 be appropriated to purchase a drone and the applicable equipment for $25,000, to replace 2 motorcycles for $41,946, and for deputies to provide traffic enforcement on secondary roads for $20,000. The grant period is October 1, 2021 to September 30, 2022.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Bolter, supported by Commissioner Morgan, and we'll take questions, comments, and discussion. Yes, question, Commissioner McLeod.
So this is great that we've got more money to do things that the sheriff's office needs, but I do have a question about the drone. Can someone provide some information in terms of what that would be used for?
Sure. Our sheriff is here.
Good morning. So we already do have a drone program in place, and largely what they're used for is to document scenes. So when there's been a fatal car accident, for example, we have to take a lot of information, and without the equipment to do so from overhead, it can take several hours of having a roadway closed down. So it's really effective to get the scene captured, get it documented, open it back up for traffic.
Commissioner Antwer?
Thank you, Chair. Morning, Sheriff. I just, it says here it's going to be used in part for investigating accidents. So would that be kind of the drone technology you're talking about?
Yeah, the drone would be used for investigating accidents. So our fatal accident investigators are generally funded out of this program, have been historically as long as my career. And so any fatal accident that the at-fault driver is alive, we're going to really pursue investigating to make sure there are no criminal charges, preparing it for any civil case that might be, and so that generally is funded out of this program. I say generally because the program has diminished so dramatically over the last several years that it gets very hard to sustain the program out of this fund. And so as you heard Al talk about, what we did have planned was $63,000 out of the general fund that was going to need to be added to this program to even support it over the course of this year. Now that's coming back, and it supports other deputy functions, including writing tickets, which at some point supports this program too.
Do you guys work with MSP then sometimes if there's or it's one or the other usually, or?
It's one or the other. We don't generally coordinate on a particular scene. We do accidents on secondary roads. They generally do M roads and expressways in this county.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Bukowski?
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Sheriff. So I guess the movement of these dollars, anytime the word supplant is used, that a small, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a red flag, but just a note is made so that, and maybe this is for finance, but the general fund transfer isn't going to happen, or that 63,000, but that is moved to another part of the sheriff's budget, or does it go back to the general fund?
Yes.
Yes, it basically was an amount put in because the grant
Right.
was reduced. The grant
Correct.
was restored, so then that can come out and go back to the general fund.
It came out of
Right.
what would normally be my operating funds, went to this program to support traffic investigators within this program, and now it's going back to support the general road patrol. And again, I have still the same functions that I have to provide in terms of doing patrols. It's not that we would have done less patrols if not for this supplement, because I have to support the traffic accident investigator. So that money goes to function of patrols in this area on the secondary roads, which is what the program's intended for. It doesn't show up anywhere in these documents, but there is absolutely a correlation for lack of patrols and an increase in accidents. And when sheriffs across the entire state had diminished funds over the last couple of years, the accidents went through the roof. And I don't have the specific quote for our county. It's available on Office of Highway Safety Planning. But you can definitely see when we're not doing patrols, particularly on these out-county roads, these secondary roads, speeds go up, accidents go up, there are more fatals. So it's a very, very important program, which is why more money's been added at the legislature.
So again, it's very clear that 20,000 of the 150 goes for additional road patrol, but the 63 is for, or it's just paying for something that was already being paid for? I'm just wondering if 63,000 falls back to the general fund, or it's 63 is staying within the sheriff's department for something that already is being expensed. It doesn't make sense to me, but it's not a big deal, I guess, for a cold Tuesday morning. So, it's not a net positive to the county general fund.
I think it's probably better to think of it as we had to put money there as a placeholder until this supplemental went through. That would have otherwise been part of my general fund request for general patrol, to do patrols on secondary roads. If you can think of it that way, this is not a surprise for us. This was something they were working on, and we had to put a placeholder in this fund to get through the budget process. So now it's back restored to where we had originally planned on it being, and every dollar in that budget will be used for patrol.
Every dollar of that 63.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
You good, Commissioner Bukowski?
I'm as good as I can be.
Okay.
So,
We'll go to Commissioner Morgan.
Well, good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll try and help you out, Commissioner Bulka. This is just what I view as a cost shift, right? So I try to put it in simple terms because that's the only thing I understand is simple stuff. But I just wanted to point out, and you answered this, that a lot of the road investigations we're responsible for in the secondary roads. And it's not only the fatals, it's the near fatals or potential fatals. So every time we're on an accident scene, and we've been on a lot of them out county, if there's a potential for a fatal, they have to come out and do their measurements, because there could be, they have to investigate the accident not only on fatals but potential fatals. So I just wanted to point that out. Is that okay?
Right, and I generally refer to them as fatals because we investigate them as if they're going to be fatal.
Right.
And thankfully, not all of them do end up
Okay.
that way.
Okay, thanks, man. Sure.
Anyone else? Thank you, Sheriff. Seeing no other questions, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. That brings us to item number 4 from Kent County Veteran Services. Al?
Action requested, recommend to the Board of Commissioners to accept and appropriate $318,997 to the 2021-22 Special Project Fund for the County Veteran Service Fund grant, and authorize the Board Chair or designee to execute the grant agreement, approve extensions and amendments and increases to the grant appropriation not to exceed 15% of the original award. Kent County Veteran Services will receive the 2022 CVSF grant from the Michigan Department of Military and Veterans Affairs in the amount of $318,997. This is the 4th year KCVS has received this grant. The 2020 and 2021 CVSF grants supported 24 equine therapy retreats for veterans, participation by 21 veterans in the Art Prize Veterans Park Art Exhibit, visited by thousands of Art Prize attendees, free dental care for 5 veterans, purchase and delivery of beds for 50 veterans and their families, service dogs for 9 veterans, rapid bus advertisements and television advertisements providing millions of impressions or exposures to Kent County residents. 2022 services funded by the grant will include therapeutic, recreational, and skill-building support for veterans and their families, as well as house cleaning for veterans with disabilities. A summary of programs to be funded is attached. The grant period is October 1, 2021 through September 30, 2022. Corporate Council will review and approve the agreement.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Okay. We had moved by Commissioner Green, support by Commissioner Sparks. We'll take questions, comments, and discussion. Yes, Commissioner Antor.
Thank you. Good morning, Martha. Just my question would be regarding the services that we provided 2020, 2021. You got the equine therapy and so on and so forth. Free dental care for 5 veterans. How are these placed in order of importance, or how is this list determined? I was just thinking, you know, I know how much the dental care piece costs because we had a few people come through our program that needed that. Is there any way of getting that ramped up? The dental care seems to be quite important, or is there not that big of a need?
I'm not trusting that number, honestly. In 2020, we probably had 5, because we had 1 dental day, but we have a grant, we gave a grant to my community dental centers last year that came out of the general fund. It didn't come out of grant funding.
Okay.
And so that was like $100,000, and there were numerous veterans that were served, and they're already, you know, scheduling people for next year in anticipation.
So if you have a dental day, you could have any number of people coming in, or you only have?
Dental day, so I think we had $21,000 or $22,000 for that dental day. And what we did was contracted with a dentist in the community who has done this before for veterans. And so it was just 1 day.
Okay.
And people could sign up in advance, or they could just show up, and they could
Okay.
have a cleaning, and they couldn't get like full
Right.
dental care, but they could get sort of prophylactic dental care. What we paid for with my community dental centers this past year was basically for anything except cosmetic. And so there were people getting a lot of dental work done, veterans getting a lot of dental work done.
Is there a day in mind right now for this coming year?
We're not doing a dental day. This is available every day of the year.
Oh, okay.
So they can go in all year long to use these funds. So last year, they had a little bit of the 100,000 left over. But it takes them a while to get people in, so they already started scheduling
Okay.
this coming year. So the numbers that you're seeing right here are only related to the MVA grant. There are other numbers that are reflected that would come out of the general fund, or, yeah, out of the millage fund, rather.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Bolter?
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's what I was going to ask. So dental services are currently already covered in the veterans millage?
They are
Okay.
now.
Okay.
They weren't before. And so that year that I asked for dental to do a dental day, we didn't have anything in the budget for that at that point. We did the dental day, and then the following year, we put it into the.
Do you have a sense for, because that's a huge issue, do you have a sense for capping that at a certain amount per year, or a sense for if that could go really, really balloon?
Well,
How are you kind of keeping a lid on it, I guess?
yeah, we aren't able to give them as much money this year just because we're at the end of our millage money. So all of our grantees got a pretty significant reduction in funds this year. But, you know, last year, like I said, it was $100,000 and they used almost all. So, I mean, it's really based on the availability of funds, and what other priorities we have, but that is a big, issue.
You
Can I do a
continue,
follow-up?
Commissioner.
It's just confusing to me because I know we have a subcommittee looking into the veterans millage, and I know there's lapse money for a couple of years now that's then gone back into the general fund. So if there are services that are allowable that are available, I would hope that we'll use them because, it's just almost tragic to see it come back.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
even want it. So just wanted to, make that statement.
Al wanted to make a comment.
Yeah, I did. So there's $300,000 that's budgeted each year from the general fund, which is the amount the general fund contributed before the veterans millage. So that $300,000 couldn't be spent for dental services because it would confer an individual benefit on someone. But it might be that that money could be spent for something eligible, which could free up more money for something else. So anyways, I think that we're taking a look at that. Because that question came up, Commissioner Burrow had that question, so.
Hey,
I want to say too, that in the last 3 years, since I've been here, we've been spending the money. And that's why we're at the end of it right now. But I agree that,
Okay, Commissioner Bukowski?
Yes, thank you. Just as a point of clarification, I did check with council because I do have, Disability Advocates receives funding from Veteran Services, but not this funding, so it's not a conflict for me today with that, which means I can ask a question, which is there a dental clinic at the Veterans Clinic out at the VA?
I'm not sure if they have a dental clinic there or not, but the issue
Okay.
is that unless a veteran is 100% disabled, he doesn't get the dental benefits.
Okay.
And neither does his spouse, or her spouse.
Okay.
So this money was, sort of to address that issue and
Right.
to cover what we think of as a work,
Yep,
may or may not, they don't have commercial dental.
correct.
And they're not making enough money to be
Right.
able to cover an emergency dental expense. So if somebody needed a root canal, I mean, that's a lot of money for somebody who's making
Yes.
$15 an hour, and trying to feed 4 people or whatever. So this is for that population. That's who it's
Yep.
intended for.
All right.
So if they have insurance through the VA for dental, or if their spouse has dental insurance that they could be covered on, then they wouldn't be eligible for this program.
All right. All right. Cool. Thank you.
Commissioner Sparks?
I'd just like to add to what you just said, it's a lot.
Hey, anyone else? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. That brings us to item number 5 on the agenda is public comment. Is there any public that would like to address the Finance and Physical Resources Committee this morning? Okay, seeing none, I will close public comment. I will open up miscellaneous for commissioners. Is there any miscellaneous that the commissioners would like to speak to for the Finance and Physical Resources Committee?
Wow. I used to think highly of Commissioner Sparks.
How about I'll just add,
I feel like I'm in a cubicle,
right.
and I'm getting reflections everywhere.
How about
Don't call mental health or anything like that.
how about as Chair of Finance, a warm welcome to Commissioner McLeod and Commissioner Bolter. Welcome to the Finance and Physical Resources Committee this year. Glad to have you guys. Commissioner Womack?
Yes, the Urban League is having its annual Martin Luther King breakfast and awards on Monday, so you might have something in your email if you want to attend. I have been nominated for the Martin Luther King Drum Major Award, so we'll see what happens, but just in case I do win, it'd be good to have some of our commissioners attend that, so check your emails. It'd be nice even if I don't win. I go every year, so let me put that in. Thank you.
The 7:30 a.m. breakfast.
Yes.
West
Thank you.
Michigan, man. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, we will adjourn. The next meeting is Tuesday, January 25th at 8:30 a.m.